Welcome to the Opinionated Monsters. I'm Scott McClellan of Carnival Diablo.
I'm Somsy from OttawaHorror.com.
I'm Kevin the Zombie King from ZombieInfo.com.
And I'm Jessica, Prom Queen.
Yes, well, Jess, tell me, why are you dressed this way?
I guess you guys didn't get the memo about the dress code.
Missed that one.
Yeah.
Which leads us into our discussion for tonight, which is going to be Carrie. This actually isn't just about Carrie, it's about the fact that it's been remade. So we're going to be talking about that also.
Well, I mean, Carrie goes down, obviously, the original goes down in the pantheon of classic horror films.
Oh, Pantheon.
Pantheon.
That's a good big word.
Big word alert. The original Carrie is one of those things that goes down amongst the pantheon of classic horror films. Sissy Spacek, it was actually Stephen King's first novel that was adapted as a movie. And it's obviously become a classic. Everything from, the pig's blood on the head through to from the shower scene. All of it has essentially become a classic. When they remade it, to me, it falls into the pointless remake category.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm watching.
Shower scene. Pointless?
Pointless remake. Why pointless? Because what was the point? It was the same movie. To me, if you're going to remake something, if you're going to bring something back, bring something new to the party. You look at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot. That was great. It took those concepts, brought a whole new group of characters to the party, kept the same raw base, but kind of mixed those ingredients up and made something new out of it. To me, this was too close to a shot. This was like the Psycho remake. It's like, what was the point of doing that when the classic was already there? Bring something new to the party. And the other problem for me with it was Chloe Grace Moretz. She just, Sissy Spacek had just the right amount of homely, and Chloe is just, she's too pretty for me. To me, I don't care how whacked out she is, every boy in the school is going to be chasing her.
Well, there's something about Sissy Spacek. She had this sort of ethereal otherworldliness about her, She just seemed so frail and so scared of everything. And on the one hand, you want to just jump in there and protect her from all these people. But on the other hand, I think that there was a sense that she kind of looked how I think we all felt going through high school, very, very much other than other people. Now, in the newer version, Chloe doesn't really engender the same reaction. I look at her and I see someone who's, a pretty, fairly well-adjusted young girl. Yeah. I don't think that actually necessarily makes it less effective because it just changes the reason. In De Palma's version, you could see Carrie being targeted because she is so weird and frail. Whereas in this version, it's sort of like Carrie's just targeted because she can be, and that's what teens do.
Yeah, I'll give you that, but I mean, teens and kids are going to pick on whatever's different. Mm-hmm. The well-adjusted kid might get it, but really, to me, that was what made Carrie so powerful as Spacek, was the fact that you bought the fact that she was going to get picked on, and you knew it. The second you saw her, you went, that kid is going to get picked on.
See, I don't know if I agree with either of you on that, because in the remake, I think that she went a different direction with the character. I think she went to the awkward, stuck to myself. They only unfortunately make one reference to it in the script. They said back in the 6th grade, she told us we were all going to hell. So obviously these kids have been in a class with her for a lot longer. But unfortunately, we don't get to hear about her past and how essentially her mother's dementia, which honestly, I don't think the new remake is about Carrie. I think the new remake is much more about the mother and her own dementia and how essentially, by being in that atmosphere, Carrie has picked it up as her own. Now, I think that the remake is fabulous until the event. Whereas in the original, the whole film builds you up to the event at the prom. In the remake, the thing that's stupid is actually the moment that we're all waiting for. The prom night, the pig's blood. We don't need to see how they got the pig's blood. The moment that I really can't stand is the moment we all wait for, and that's the vengeance moment, when she gets the pig's blood and she goes over the edge and she takes out everything and does all the bad stuff. She becomes super Carrie. And I'm sorry, this is not in telling with the character. This is in telling with, oh, I'm going to get them, but it doesn't help the story, you know?
No, but again, to me, that's not bringing enough to the table. Yes, we're going to flesh out that backstory a little, but only a little. That's like adding a little salt to the soup and going, here, it's a new recipe. Doesn't work for me.
Well, I can go with you on that, but to me, I almost see the new Carrie as watch the first half until the pig blood drops. Stop it. Just stop it, because you don't want to ruin what they built up until that point. And then watch the rest of the old one. And you'll have pretty much a pretty nice solid movie, a nice companion piece, i.e. like Halloween was to the original Halloween, you know? It's a great companion piece. I'm just saying you can use it as something to fill out the back end. That being said, I think Julianne Moore really knocked it out of the park.
Okay, I will give you that one.
I will too. Like, I thought that Julianne Moore's portrayal of this insane, overzealous, religious woman was great.
I think that, if anything, it almost adds a slightly different... I just think that that's what it brings to the table. Instead of bringing something for Carrie, and the movie is called Carrie, it should be about Carrie, I don't think they delved enough into her past to make us as an audience feel sympathetic to her, or empathetic. But I think that being able to watch that performance was just a stronger thing for me.
So that actually leads really nicely into my argument. Now, on principle, I'm not really opposed to remakes. I don't even think the remake has to be better than the original, just as long as it does bring something new. Now, on the surface, Pierce's version of Carrie does look an awful lot like De Palma's, in some cases right down to the dialogue being identical. But I think where the difference comes in is the subtleties. The subtleties add certain nuances. De Palma's version felt a bit more like a response to criticisms about feminism, because that was what was going on at the time. Whereas Pierce's version seems to be a lot more in response to bullying. We're living in a completely different world now than when the original Carrie was made. Bullying is now a culturally recognized phenomenon, whereas back when the original was made, it really wasn't as much of a hot-button topic as it is now. To me, Pierce's version seems a lot more sympathetic to victims of bullying and abuse. Now, what I thought was a really interesting choice that they made was sort of this shift in the power dynamic. When Carrie was expressing her abilities throughout the movie, she was practicing, she was using it a lot earlier on and on a lot grander scale. In De Palma's version, it's almost as though the powers are working through Carrie. She's not necessarily in control of it, and you're left wondering, is she doing this on purpose, or is this just a reaction to the things that have been thrown at her all of her life?
Yeah, it sees the emotion triggers it.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas in Pierce's version, Carrie's really in control of it. She's aware, she's moving, she's orchestrating the entire thing. And that really changes the dynamic to me, because she's choosing to hurt these people. She's choosing all of her actions.
So this gets down to what I wanted to say. I reviewed both films last night back to back. And the first thing that I want to note is, when watching the newest version as compared to the old version, every line in that movie was almost exact. I was actually taken aback by that. I thought they were going to change it up a bit. They didn't. But I agree with you, Howard. Looking at Sissy Spacek and looking at this new actress, Sissy was a girl that looked the part. She really did. And you couldn't have picked anybody better to be ostracized. She was a great actress also, because she played that beautifully. This new actress didn't look the part. When I first saw it, which was about a year ago, I watched it and I thought to myself, good God, this girl is really pretty. How the hell am I supposed to feel these feelings that I felt when I saw the first Carrie? I didn't, and I couldn't during the whole making of the movie. So while I watched the second version of the film, I watched this person get into this paranormal stuff and become vindictive. and then at the end, almost relish the fact she was killing, which made me so angry because this is the crap that we're seeing in the paper these days with Columbine and all these things where young people are shooting people and they're hoping to become stars because of the crap that they're doing to these people, killing, taking lives. And so it was almost to me a point where it was condoning this new type of like crap where the downtrodden comes forward and becomes the monster that kills and becomes famous like Charles Manson because of it. I hated that. And this movie made me so angry because of that, because one, it didn't show any new thought when it came to the way it was scripted.
It took the heart away. It took the heart away
It
from the
totally
original.
took the heart
Yeah,
away.
you're right.
But also, it was a movie that made me so frigging angry because of the fact that the lead up to what took place seemed almost premeditated. Because she was going to the library, she got a lot more information than good old Carrie in the first movie did, and she was practicing. Kind of like Harry Potter when he had the blankets over his head and he was like Lumos and all this kind of thing. I was livid with the fact that she was preparing for the onslaught.
Yeah,
Even though
well,
she
she
didn't
probably
know about the
didn't know.
bucket.
Yeah.
She didn't know about the bucket. There was going to be in her head the moment that she was going to snap, and she knew that day was going to come, so she was preparing for it. That made her an unsympathetic character. That's all I have to say on the subject because it was a failure. It did not do anything for me except for make me angry at the fact that we are living in a really sick-ass society. And somehow, to me, maybe some other people didn't pick this up, it made me look at what's going on in the world today and get even angrier. And so it didn't take me away. It put me back kind of into the mentality that I'm already in when I'm reading the paper in the morning. And I hate that. Well, we talked about these two movies with a lot of passion because we all have our own opinions, which is great. But ultimately, sometimes it just makes me scratch my head, as does many other people I'm sure out there, why we have to do remakes at all. Thanks for watching. We're the Opinionated Monsters.
So, do you agree with Howard? Do you agree with me? Do you feel somewhere in between? Tell us in the comment section below.
And don't forget to subscribe and be sure to like us on Facebook. And we'll see you again in a couple of weeks. I got the big word today.